There are no current signs that we are headed towards a housing market crash. But even if we were, there are ways that you can protect yourself and your home purchase. With the current economic climate, many of you may be feeling uneasy about taking the plunge into buying your first home. As a trusted guide who has helped hundreds of families achieve their homeownership dreams, today I'm sharing 5 real-world strategies you can use to crash-proof your home purchase no matter what the market does. First strategy might be a little self-explanatory. Don't overextend yourself. A good rule of thumb when buying a home is that your housing costs, meaning your mortgage, your taxes, and your insurance, should take up no more than 28% of your gross monthly income. I know that this may seem a little contradictory, right? Because I have made videos before saying that lenders are going to look at that gross monthly income, all the money that you have coming in before taxes, and they may allow you to use up to 50% of that income on your housing costs. Now, this doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things. If you're trying to protect yourself and set yourself up for financial stability with your home purchase, then you probably shouldn't be maxing out your debt to income using 50% of your gross income before your taxes are even taken out towards your housing costs alone. Because think about it, things come up, life happens. You still have to pay your cell phone bill, your Wi-Fi, get your groceries, maybe you have childcare and car payments and all sorts of things, right? So don't overextend yourself. This is going to be exceptionally important, not just in general, but also in the event that anything were to happen and our economy was going to go south. You want to make sure that you can still comfortably afford your housing payment. The second strategy I have for you is to minimize your risk of being forced to move. That way, when the market is down, you are not forced to sell. So think about it. We have talked about this before. Real estate is cyclical. It has cycles. There are times when it's up, times when it's down, up, down, up, down. You are only going to lose money if you do not have enough equity in your home and you're trying to sell when the market is down. So let's think of this as like a wave, right? If you buy at the top of this wave here and the market goes down from where you were, where you bought your home, then you could be at risk of losing money. But real estate's cyclical. So if you come back to this second point here, where your value is about even or anywhere higher, you're going to be making money even if there was an economic downturn, even if, let's say, there was a housing crash. You're only going to lose money if you're selling when that market is down. A great way to prevent that from happening is not let anything force you to sell your home. There are 3 big things that force people to move: death, divorce, and diapers, both at an old age and at the baby stage. Think about this, death. Death can definitely force you to sell your home. Maybe you had a parent whose, spouse died and now you need to move to take care of that parent. Maybe you had someone who was living with you pass away and now you need to sell that home, or you need to move somewhere else that's easier for you to afford. There are many different times that can come into play. Divorce as well. In most cases, divorce is going to result in the home being sold or one of the 2 partners buying out the other. That's another thing. Diapers with the either addition of a family member. Maybe your family is growing, you have a new baby, maybe twins even, or diapers at an old age. Maybe you have an older family member who's moving in with you. All of these things are going to be changing the amount of people that your home needs to house. Those are all changes to your family that could affect whether you need a new house. So those are things that could force you to move. If you think that you could be subject to death, divorce, or diapers in the next few years, it may not be the perfect time for you to buy a house, or anticipate which one of those D's could be affecting you, what you would need for that situation, and go ahead and plan for that in your purchase now. Another thing that I want you to think about with being forced to move is, could your company relocate you? A lot of times, if you are sticking with your employer and they are making you move for your job, they may cover some of your moving costs, but they are usually going to make you sell your house. You may not be able to hold on to it personally as a rental. So you need to consider that as well. How stable is your current job? And can you, really envision yourself being able to stay with that company in this location for several years to come? The third thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is understand that you need a good 3 to 5 years in a home to build up enough equity to where selling makes sense. If you don't have a good down payment or the housing market is down when you want to sell, then that is going to take even longer. So let's say, for example, you buy a $400,000 home with an FHA loan and 3.5% down payment coming to $14,000. If home prices were to go up 3% each year for 5 years that you own that home, your home that was $400,000 is now worth $463,708 after those increases. On your $400,000 purchase, with that $14,000 down payment that you made, you will finance $386,000. At an interest rate, let's say of 7.5%, in 5 years, you will have paid $20,777 in principal and $141,161 in interest. So your loan balance would be $365,223. Now, if you take your new home value of $463,708 after appreciation and subtract the $365,223 loan balance that you would still have after making those 5 years of payments, you would have $98,485. And that's enough money to cover all of the costs associated with selling your home and still walk away with a nice chunk of change. But let's say that home values don't go up while you own your home, but rather stay the same. Economy just sits. So you'd still have a home that's worth $400,000. You subtract your loan balance left over, which is $365,223, you would have just over $37,000 in equity. So that's not going to be enough to barely cover your costs associated with selling your home. Now, can you imagine how scary it would be if values went down over that 5-year period instead, and you needed to sell? You were forced to sell. You would have had to pay money to sell your home. And that's unfortunately a harsh reality that comes along with being forced to sell when the market is down and having limited equity, either because you used a down payment assistance program or you did a low down like an FHA, or maybe you just didn't have enough time in your home to let that principal payment, kind of go up and to accrue that equity over time. I know this may seem scary. Don't stress about it. When I bought my first home, I definitely didn't even have all of these things in play first. But keep in mind that you may need to wait, or it may make the most financial sense for you to wait to buy and kind of set yourself up for success. The next strategy that I want you to understand is to have adequate savings in your emergency fund. You cannot predict your job security. So if you or your spouse were to lose your job, I want you to think about this. Would you be able to keep paying your mortgage? That's going to be the key thing here. Another thing I want you to keep in mind is do not take out a HELOC or a home equity line of credit without plans to be in your home for a long time and build that equity back up, or with a plan to replace that equity quickly. This even goes for renovations. I have had clients take out a HELOC to get access to the money that they have in their home as equity and use that money for home improvements, thinking that and under the assumption of the fact that if they invest money into their home, that when they sell their home, whether it be right after they finish the renovations or years down the way, that their home is going to be worth a lot more money because they made those renovations. Now, this can be true, but my hesitation with this and my big advice is do not be taking out these HELOCs unless you have a plan to recoup that equity, or if you're taking it out to invest in your home in renovations that you think are going to make your home more desirable when you sell, make sure to kind of talk that over at least with your realtor, because what I would hate to see you do is take out that money and invest it in something on your home that's not going to give you the return that you want. And unfortunately, I do see that because not all home repairs are created equally. And you have to also remember that maintenance is different than home repairs. Sometimes, let's say your home needs a new roof and your insurance won't cover it for some reason. That could be a $10,000, $12,000, dollar expense, depending on how large your roof is, right? That is a maintenance item. All homes need roofs. So it's not necessarily true that a buyer is going to come and pay more for your home because it has a new roof on it than they would pay for the same home that has a roof that's 5 years old, 10 years old. So if you're going to do that, just know it is very important to consult with an expert who understands which improvements on your home can give you the best return on your investment. Now, really the take home that I want you guys to understand is that I am not seeing any signs that we are headed towards a housing market crash. I'm reading a lot of predictions and forecasts, and even economists who do this for a full-time living are not predicting that we are heading towards a crash. But I still want you to understand that doing all of these things is a best practice that will not only make homeownership less stressful, but it's just going to set you up for so much financial stability. Remember, it is so beneficial to have a great real estate agent by your side to help guide you to making the right investment. But then, like I said earlier, can also help you to determine whether, investing money here or there on your home would be worth it for you in the long run. So if you feel ready to jump in and start the home buying process, don't forget to click the link in the description and I will help you get connected with an awesome agent in your area to guide you through the process. When the housing market is being discussed in the media a lot, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and unsure when the perfect time is to make the investment. So I hope this video gave you a little bit of clarity in how you can still purchase a home, but set yourself up for success no matter what the economy does in the next few years. I'm Nicole Nark. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.